Hi all, welcome to ETL Techniques. Uh, Today we are going to learn about for each loop container, how to use it in SSDT tool. This is the screen. What you're seeing is the SSDT window, and I'm going to start with a new package. For that, you need to go to the Solution Explorer and then click on New SSIS package. Say after creating the SSIS package, here you need to rename it with the uh, project, I mean with the package name for each .dtsx, which means data transformation service package. Here the file is unsaved inside the editor and has been changed to internet. Do you want to reload it and lose the changes made in the source editor? No to all. Whatever changes I made it, I need that into the project. So I want to give no to all, and then see the name has been changed, and then go to for each loop container that is under control flow level. I'm going to drag and drop the for each loop container that is available under containers, and just drag and drop it in the center. And then before configuring the for each loop container, just need to create a variable. Here the variable what I'm going to create, why I'm going to create is we need to store the files, iterations one by one. It has to iterate for each loop container is to iterate the files one by one. This is what we are going to do. And what is our real-time scenario? Just imagine you just want to process multiple files dynamically. Imagine you receive multiple CSV files in a folder and you need to process the file, which means process each file dynamically in SSIS. Means this is how you have to do using for each loop container. And the steps, what are the steps I'm going to show you is, first need to create a package in SSDT tool and add a for each loop container to iterate the files in a folder. For that only we need to have variable. We are going to store the iterating of files one by one in the variable called file path. Okay, what is that is the name of the file, and the scope of the variable is for each, and by default it's coming the package name itself, and the data type is the string, because file path is in string type. That is the string, that is the variable we are going to store every time it fetch the file path dynamically, and that path has to be stored in a variable. And we don't have to give the file path every time it changes manually. Instead we can give it using creating a variable and store that in a file name called file path dynamically. And the value is 0, and the expression we have, what we have to give is actually we have to create an expressions, I mean expression builder. Go to expression builder and then click on this variables and parameters. This is the file path we created. Just click drag and drop it in the place expressions, and then click on evaluate expressions, so it is evaluated, and then click on OK. So this is the second step. If add a for use loop container to iterate the files through the through files in a folder, and configure this. Here after this I'm going to configure for use loop container, and then set the enumerator to for each file, for each file enumerator. That I will tell you what is for each file enumerator. And then you have to specify the folder path where the files are stored and use a variable. And then I have created already the variable, that is file path, to store the file name dynamically. Inside this for each loop container I am going to add a data flow task. And after adding this data flow task, inside data flow task we can use the flat file to flat file source to read the CSV file, and destination SQL Server OLEDB destination for the destination to store the file, store all the files. That is what I'm going to do, and then run the package, and then SSIS will process each file automatically. This is helpful when you handle multiple, when you want to import data, multiple files into your destination to reduce the manual interventions. Um, and I'm going to show you the next step is to drag and drop the data flow task. Here in favorites you have data flow task. Just drag and drop it inside the for each loop container. Before doing so, you have to configure the for each loop container. Go to collections. Okay, this is to allows you to execute the iteration over an enumeration, which means in under collections click on enumerated. Here for each file enumerator you have to select this. Why we are setting the enumerator to for each file enumerator in SSAS means configuring the for each loop container to iterate the files in a specified folder. This allows to process multiple files dynamically without human intervention. And then you have to click on this collection, then click on file for each file enumerator. Specify the folder. You have to specify the folders. I'm going to show you what are the files I'm going to iterate, and that I all that files has to be stored it in the destinations, and what are the files and the locations also I will show you. This is the location. Under this location only I have three types of files. Source one, all are of the same type, which means .txt file only. See, in source one I have id, employee name, salary, department, and location. There are three rows in this source one file, and source 2 I have the same uh, uh, header but different data. We have there are two rows of data, but it's of the same headers. And third source file also contains the same headers but the different data. There are two rows there. I just want to club all the three files into into one destination. So this is my that target. So this is the file path. I just want to copy the file path and put it under folder. This is to browse the files under this folder, and the file name is the all the files star.txt, which means I want to take all the files with the extension .txt. If I want all type of fields means then I have to give star. I just want to take only the files which has the extension txt. And here you have to retrieve the name with the name and extension, or with the fully qualified, or with the name only you have to select. Here what is name and extension means, it in SQL Server integration services, the term name only means it is just the file name, and name and extension means it retrieves the file with the extension. And then fully loaded means fully qualified means it retrieves the complete file path along with the directory. That is why I just want to take the retrieve the file complete path with the directory. I just want to retrieve the complete directory. I don't want the name with name with the extension, or also name only with the name. I want the complete path only, then it iterates the file and then get clubbed into one destinations. And then go to variable. Here the variable I have we have created, right, that variable will be listed here, and you have to assign that variable to the index 0. That is the file name, file path. The inside the file path that we have stored the path of the file for which it has to get iterated one by one, and then click on OK. Now the for each loop container configuration is done, and then double click on data flow task. Here what you have to do is you have to drag and drop the source file source for to get the flat file source to get the files from the source, and the destination to store the data, target to where it has to be stored, that has to be configured under destination. That destination type, what type of destination that you have to choose. First, flat file source. Go for the sources. Here you have flat file source. Double click on flat file, click on connection manager, click on new connections, browse here the flat file connection editor. Here you have to specify the, select and specify the file properties and file format. File name is the first file. First, this is the first file needs to be iterated, so the name of the file, I have path of the file, which means it takes the full path, but the file name is the source dot source one dot txt. There is a file name it takes, and the format is delimited. Text qualifier is none. Header row delimiter is a new line, and then rows, header rows to skip is 0. Column names in the first data row. The column names are in the first data row, so we have to put a tick mark in this columns. What are the columns? These are the columns of first file, and this way it will take for the next file and also the third source file. Advanced and preview. Here you don't have to do anything, then click on OK. And the columns are here in this option, that it configures the property used to connect to and obtain data from a text file. These are the columns, output columns. This is external columns, and here you don't have to do anything with the error output right now. Then click on OK. And then the destination, what is the destination, which here I'm going to store the flat file from flat file source to the OLEDB destination. The data from flat file transfers the data from the flat file to the OLEDB destination, which is SQL Server. Here I have to take all the three files data into the OLEDB destinations. Here I'm going to connect. So first we have to configure the OLEDB destination editor is open. Now if you double click on it, this editor gets pop up, and you have to configure the properties to insert the data into the RDBMS, which is OLEDB provider. Click on new connection manager. That is here I have already this data connections connected already, so click on OK. If you want to connect with the new and then new connections, then you have to click on new. Here also in this window you have to click again new, and then connect to the your own server name or another different server name. Click on OK. Here the table have to, what is the name of the table, in what form of table has to be created in SQL Server, that you have to specify. Here already the table is already created based on the text file, based on the source file. This is the header given in the source file. Based on that it is created, SSIS itself created the file. And just I want to change the name of the table, that's all. Here the create a table with this for each, create a table with the name for each, and the rest of the column names and the data type are all the same. It is created automatically. So go for mapping input and the destination mapping are all same. Error output here now, right now there is nothing to do with this. Then click on OK. See, I have done with this. Now I just want to run this. Before running this, I just want to uh, tell you one thing. Here I have selected fully qualified. I told you, no, this is for the get the full path, full directory. if you want to retrieve the file name, not only with the file name, I want the name of the directory, including the directory. I want the complete path. For that, I have chosen this one. And setting the property expressions here, while creating, I have showed you know what is how why we are creating this variable to retrieve the file one by one in for loop. In loop it gets iterated. Here expression, why we are setting the expression is to allows the it dynamically gets the path of the file during runtime. It gets updated. This is useful when working with changing the file paths, connection strings, or or values, string or values, variable values that needs to be adjusted based on the loop iteration. And dynamic file processing is when you are looping through files, when you're looping through multiple files in a folder. Property expression can update file connection manager dynamically for each file. What does it do is it just updates the file connection manager dynamically, updates the property expressions to gets updated. The file path gets updated in the file connection manager dynamically for each file. That is the reason we use this uh, property expression. In this way also you can set the property expression. Otherwise you can go to click on this flat file connection manager, and then go to properties, and then here you can set the, click on this expression three dots under expressions. Here also you can create connection string. Expression is here you can the same way how you did it, no, the same way you can create drag and drop it well with the expression. Then the expression will be created, and then click on OK. This is how you can also set the expression. The main what is the main the data flow task, there in the world scenario. Just imagine you receive daily CSV reports in a folder. By setting the for each file enumerator here, I should for each file enumerator. This is to loop through each file and extract the data, and transform and load the data into the database dynamically. We use this for each file enumerator. This is why we use for each, I mean setting the for each file enumerator to configure the for each loop container to iterate the files in a folder. This allows SSIS to process multiple files dynamically. That is the reason to enumerate the files, to generate to iterate the files, multiple files dynamically without the human intervention. We use this file for each file enumerator. This data flow task, here you have to, what is the use of this data flow task is one of the most essential components. It allows you to extract, transform, and load the data effectively from the sources, from different sources to the uh, any kind of destinations. It just extracts the data, transform the data. Under data flow task, you can extract, transform, and load the data into the destinations. Now we are done with this. Let's see to run this package. Now I'm going to run this package. Click on start here. See, it is done. Control flow, the data for each loop container is also successfully ran without without any errors. Package execution is completed with success. Here also three rows are executed and ran successfully to the destinations. Now here you have to stop debugging. Click on this. Now it is stopped. Now I'm going to show you where it is actually stored. Before it was there is no such file called, see, there is no such file called for each. here in my SSMS tool, which means Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. See, I just want to refresh this. Click on tables. See, the name of the table is for each. Select top 1000 rows. See, now all the 6 files, one two, see, totally 9 files are there. First file contains the three files, and remaining how many? First source file has three rows, second source file has 2 rows, and third also two. Again, this is how you have to run the package. And again, if I start running this package, see, it is executed all the files. Let's see whether it is updated or not. See, already we have 9 files in this. Just refresh this, the same file. Select 1000. See, it is executed again because I have already executed. I just want to delete this. I delete it, this table. Okay, and then I create a new query. Here, refresh this database. I'm going to refresh and I'll show you what are the tables I have inside the database called student. There is no table name called for each, but here when I come to SSDT tool, I'm going to fetch all the three files, source files. What are they? Yes, source 1, source 2, and source 3. Fetch the files, or get the file from the source and store it in the destination called OLEDB destinations. That is a task we are going to, that is a target. I'm going to do it. See, error at data flow task SSAS code OLEDB date. Here inside this, once you delete the file, once you delete the table in the SQL server, you have to check whether the file contains the same, the table contains the same name, because the table name might have changed. So go here and check. There is no changes in the for each loop container. Click on data flow task, click on file, click on flat file connection manager. Valid file name must be selected here. Then click on columns, advanced. These are all okay. Flat file, and the columns okay, that is also fine. Here the file connection, flat file connection manager is connected to another one, and the destination is okay. Here the OLEDB destination connection manager is changed, right? Here you have to change this. See, every time it is getting iterated to student 1, student 2, student 3. See, that you should not do it. run the package. Let's see. Yes, it is successfully ran, right? See the connection manager you have to set correctly. Though it has so many connections here, you have to connect properly, connect accordingly. The flat file connection manager, though it has something, but the connection what we are choosing that we have to connect it correctly inside control flow, and then see go to the SSDB, which means Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio SSMS tool. Do refresh the student database and then click on tables and see for each is the name of the table we created. Select top 1000 rows. See, these are the files uh, we have transformed from source to the destinations. This is how you have to automate the task using SSDT tool. Hope you all enjoyed and might have got an idea how to create a for each loop container. Thank you for watching. In the next playlist, I'll show you I will come up with the different tasks. Thank you all.